Hey guys, what's up? Your girl Nicole back at it again. It's Thursday. So for today's video, I'm basically going to be showing you guys how I edit my photos on Instagram. I feel like this is kind of really beneficial. Instagram is very popular. Everybody's always posting photos, and this year I told myself I'm upping my photo game on Instagram. And I also found a lot of cool new editing apps for photos that I thought I might as well share with you guys, and I've been using them and I absolutely love them. So if you guys are interested to see how I edit my photos for Instagram, keep watching. Hey guys, what's up? So I'm going to be showing you guys some of my apps that I use for editing. I do have a couple spread out. Some of them are my favorite, but let's get to the first picture that I'm going to show you. It's this one that I did. It's actually pretty cool. The original photo looks like this, and you could just tell the difference. So I'm just going to show you guys how you guys could achieve this using one of the apps, and let's get to it. So the app that I use is Lens Distortion. So I'm just going to select it and find my photo right now. And they basically have a bunch of different things that you could add into your picture, such as light hits. You could also add some fog, some rain. It's all very cool. Like, you could tell when I add the rain, it looks like it's raining. You could also adjust the softness of it to look less rainy, less fake. You could definitely make it realistic, but I'm just going to remove the rain right now. And I'm going to go ahead and look under fog. And with the fog, it's pretty cool. You could definitely kind of add it to any kind of your photos if you want to add like a cloud effect. But I think I'm just going to add it to the bottom of the photo, to be honest. Because usually the fog at the bottom of the photo is pretty cool. So I'm just adjusting here to find the perfect placement of the fog, and I'm just gonna, you could also play around with the blur. I usually play around with the blur just to make it a little bit realistic in a sense. So I'm just gonna also play around with the blur intensity. So you could definitely intensify the fog, as you could tell, but it just looks fake at that point. So I'm just going to bring down the intensity, and I'm also going to play around with the opacity just to make it, again, a little bit realistic. You don't want people to look at the fog and be like, oh, that's totally fake. You could tell in the photo I added some snow. So let's get back into the app and let's go down to the effects again and look for snow. So I think I'm going to select that one. And again, I just am kind of playing around with the softness at this point just to kind of make it look like it's snowing, but not too much. You don't want people to see the snow as the first thing they look at. So I'm also going to play around with the opacity, and I think the snow looks perfect like that. So I'm just going to save the image, and that's basically one of the cool apps that I always use. So you could definitely tell the difference between the two. It's pretty cool. Another app that I'm gonna use is Snapseed, and this is probably my all-time favorite app. I actually have been editing on here before. It's kind of like an all-in-one. It has filters that you could choose from, but you could also play around with effects, brightness, all of that stuff. So I'm pulling up this coffee picture. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to select the brush tool, and I'm going to using the exposure brush, I'm going to intensify the lights of the coffee. So as you could tell, I'm just going around with my finger around each light just to intensify and make it more brighter. This will kind of give a nice effect to the photo, and it'll make your coffee sign stand out more because the lights are more vibrant that way. So I'm just going to finish it up like that. And I think that looks pretty cool right now. So I'm just actually going to go back into my tools and I am going to select the vintage filter, and I'm just gonna play around with the different styles of vintage that they have. Some of them don't go well with the photo just because the photo is already dark, but I think I'm gonna go around with style 1, and that looks pretty cool. I'm also gonna go into tune image, and I'm just gonna adjust the brightness. So if you swipe to the right or to the left, you could adjust the brightness. I'm also gonna adjust the contrast a little bit, just so the bricks kind of look like they're more popping out and they have some kind of texture to it. I believe saturation just a little bit, just to kind of, you know, give it a nice effect. The ambience a little bit I'm gonna adjust as well, maybe take it to a 10 or maybe a 5. Also, shadows is something that I do want to focus on because the photo is already dark. I do want to bring down the shadows and make the photo a little bit lighter. So I'm actually going to bring up the shadows maybe to around there. And then I'm just going to save the photo. So I'm going to go back into my brush tool, and I'm going to play around with the exposure brush just to bring up the snow a little bit. I do want the snow to be bright. So I'm just going to zoom in and do some small adjustments on the snow. Judging as I already put some filters on the photo earlier, the snow, it made the snow a little bit darker. So I'm just going in to brighten the snow and just kind of, I guess, almost be at sync with the coffee lights. Since the coffee lights are bright, I do want to make the snow a little bit brighter. So I'm just going to save that right now, and I'm going to export this photo. And that's basically how I play around with it on Snapseed. I'm also going to go into VSCO. It's another one of my fave apps to use. The filters are always really good on there. So I'm going to go around and see if there's any good filters that I can kind of use. I do use S1 a lot. It happens to be my favorite filter, but maybe I'll bring this down very low just because I don't want to add too much color to this photo. So I'm actually just going to strain the photo out as well, seeing as it's a little bit crooked in my eyes. So I think that looks perfect. And I am going to bring the clarity up. So I'm just going to select the clarity tool, and I'm just going to bring it up. As you could tell, the more I bring it up, the bricks and everything kind of becomes more sharp. I actually really like this tool. It happens to give a lot of definition to a lot of things. And I'm gonna save the photo actual size, and yeah. So I'm gonna go back into my photo apps, and I'm gonna click Afterlight. I like Afterlight I used to use them for their filter, but I like using them for their little light effects as well. So if you go into the film strip and click on Dusty, they have like nice rustic old vintage kind of effects to add to your photo. So it looks very old, but I think I'm just gonna stick with maybe 6 and just bring it halfway so it's not too much. And I'm gonna go into the light leak and just play around with the lights. I usually use number 3 or 4 and just add the light to the right side just so it looks a little more natural. I'm gonna save that, and that's it for editing that photo. I'm also gonna bring it into UNUM. It's basically an app for your Instagram to see basically if your Instagram page looks poppin'. And I know I just started to do my Instagram game in terms of my photos, so I know my Instagram looks all over the page with my photos, but I'm gonna start to kind of color coordinate most of the photos. So I'm just uploading the coffee one. I just want to see how it would look. Obviously it doesn't really look that great, but maybe if I put it above the plant photo, that kind of looks better. So basically I have to upload 2 more photos and then I could upload the coffee. So it's just kind of cool to see how your page would look with the photos that you upload. So another good app that I like using is Facetune. With Facetune, I usually just do like stuff to my face. So I'm just gonna open up this photo right here that I took of myself. And I wanna zoom in and I'm gonna do the details, and I'm just gonna zoom in on my eyelashes and I'm just gonna go over them to make them more intense, more dark, and I think it just gives a great definition to the photo. So already you could just tell, like, wow, pretty cool. I'm just gonna save that and I'm gonna go into my photo album actually, and I want to crop that photo because I do not like the railing on the side. So I'm just gonna crop it to basically get rid of the railing, and I think to right about there, that's actually great. I'm gonna save that, and now I'm gonna go back into my photo editing apps and I'm gonna click on Retouch. So with Retouch, this app is a little difficult. You need some patience to play around with this app, but I'm just gonna take away the white dots. It's actually a glare from a light that I was shining on myself. So it's kind of like Photoshop in a sense. I'm gonna take the clone stamp and I'm gonna take the brush and I just have to select a little piece, like a patch of color right beside that I would want to cover the white dot with. So it is like Photoshop. You do need a lot of patience, but since I am doing this fast, I'm just showing you guys. It's not really the best that I'm doing right now, but it's something. But as you can tell, you just kind of get rid of whatever you need to get rid of. I mean, you could do this with honestly anything. So if there's like wires in the back or anything like that, you could basically get rid of it using this app. So I think this app is really cool, but again, you need to spend a lot of time on it and a lot of patience because it is a little difficult to play around with. I'm just gonna save this photo right there and I'm gonna go back into my Snapseed and I'm gonna upload that photo since I took away all the glares right now. And I'm just gonna go into my tune image, play around with the contrast and play around with the ambience. And I'm gonna save that, go back into my tools, and I'm gonna play around with Glamour Glow. Glamour Glow is kind of like, it gives a nice effect to the photo. Sometimes it gives like a dreamy effect to it. So it actually gives a lot to the photo. I'm gonna save that. I'm actually maybe gonna adjust the glow by a little bit and I'm gonna export that, seeing as the photo looks good. So I'm gonna go into my VSCO and I'm just gonna upload the photo. And I'm gonna add the filter. Q1 is another one of my favorites, also S1 as I mentioned. But I think I'm gonna stick with Q1. And I'm actually gonna go in and probably play around with the clarity. Once again, I do wanna kind of, seeing as my clothes are a little dark, I'm gonna go into the shadows and I wanna kind of like give some definition to the jeans that I was wearing, and obviously because it's dark you can't really tell, so I'm just gonna bring the shadows up a little bit. And I might bring up the exposure, I might bring up the contrast a little down, and I think that's good. So I'm just gonna save that. And right now I'm just gonna go quickly into Afterlight and I'm gonna go upload it, go into the little film strip, go into Dusty. I'm gonna add a nice effect of that dusty, grainy vintage vibe to the photo. So I think number 11 looks good. Just tune it down a little bit, save it, and you're good. I'm gonna quickly go into UNUM, upload it, see how it looks with the rest of my feed on Instagram. And I mean, it's not too bad. I might just move it over to the coffee. So I think like that looks perfect. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was a little bit helpful of what apps I use. Please let me know in the comments what apps you use, and make sure to like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.